Happy Hump Day, YouTube. If only the day's name lived up to its name. Um, Leafs back home last night to play the Sabres. Huge rival. They've always had problems with the Sabres in the past, no matter how good or bad each team was. And last night's game got off to a really great start. The Leafs came out really strong and played a really good possession game. And just a couple minutes in, the Leafs got on the board to go up 1-0. Freddie Gauthier, who scored in the Edmonton game over the weekend, and that was his first goal in like 25 games or something like that. So now he scored 2 games in a row, so there's more depth scoring right there. That's the way the first period would end. In the second period, it was kind of the Austin Matthews show, and it was by far the Leafs' best period. They were just coming and coming and coming. And Matthews scored 2, one early on in the period, one later on. And he looked like his elite self in that period. And that meant they were headed to the third period with a 3-0 lead. Leafs took an early penalty, and the Sabres were able to convert, which put things to 3-1, which made it a little interesting with pretty much a whole period to play. But then not much later, Timashov on a breakaway made a nice little backhand tuck to put the Leafs up by 3 again, making it 4-1. And at that point I thought, okay, this is probably as close to over as it's going to get, but you never know in the NHL, right? And I don't know what it was, if it was the Leafs had lost some momentum or stopped playing, when you try to defend that lead and the teams fall into that trap. But the Sabres would strike for 2 back-to-back kind of in the middle of the period and put things at 4-3, which made things really interesting for a while there. And the Leafs got into more penalty trouble near the end of the game, but Mikheyev being really aggressive went after one of the Sabres players who was high along the boards by the blue line, stripped him of the puck, and then just kind of chipped it out and then raced around the defenseman and caught up to it, which is amazing because he's such a big dude, but he just blew these 2 guys away. Like, it wasn't even close. And then he potted an empty netter because on top of the penalty, the power play Buffalo had, they also put their goalie to make it a 6-on-4 advantage. So that put them up 5-3. They had to kill off the rest of that penalty, and then that was pretty much it. So what I really liked about this game is that, and they commented on this too, it was how did the Leafs shut down Jack Eichel, who had been on he was on a 16-game point streak going into Toronto, and over the first 2 periods they shut him down. He was virtually invisible, and they're saying this is Dubas's whole puck possession model, Dubas and Keefe, about how the other team can't score if they never have the puck, right? So, and that's kind of the first 2 periods for the Leafs. They just possessed the puck all the time. They were all over it, and you take the puck off Eichel's stick and he can't score. So that's the way the first 2 periods went. The third period, it was, I don't know. They did run into some penalty trouble, which got them into a bit of a pickle at the start and the end of the period. But that's the way the league goes. They call stupid penalties just to give teams opportunities to win, although there was only 3 penalties called in the whole game, which is nice. But you got to expect at some time you're going to be killing penalties, probably at a bad time in the game. And then, too, like I mentioned, the teams always seem to get up by 2 or 3 goals, and then they sit back and they let the opposition come to them, which just lets them build momentum and try and build their game, right? As opposed to, stepping on the other team's neck and just keep going right at them and don't give them a chance to get into the game or get some momentum or some flow going. So that's all stuff to be expected. That happens to every team, good teams and bad teams. So that wasn't really a negative. It's just kind of the way things are. The other thing I really liked was the Leafs continued depth scoring. They got a lot of it in that Edmonton win at West, and then last night they got it again. Gauthier, Mikheyev, and Timashov all scored. So that's 3 of their third and fourth liners right there. And then, of course, Matthews with the other 2 goals. So that's another really good thing to see. When you have your top guys contributing, and then you also have all the depth scoring going, it's hard to beat a team like that who's so well rounded. And then Fred had another great game in that he had things rolling right up through the first 2 periods, and then unfortunately in the third it kind of unraveled a bit, but he was strong again, and I expect That won't change anytime soon. He seems to be gaining more consistency to his game with each passing year. So yeah, so overall, a really good win against a really big rival. It's too bad they kind of let things kind of slip away a bit in the third, but at least they were able to rally and seal the win and not let things get away like they did, say, in Calgary a couple games ago. So yeah, so a great win. And they're, I think, in New York to play the Rangers on Friday. And I think, yeah, there's only two games before the Christmas break or whatever. So yeah, so a little bit of hockey left to be played before the holidays. And we will be watching with our eyes wide open. Have a great hump day.